talk on this topic for at least an hour and 15. We only got 15, haven't we? Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is, English name is Michael, not Isa. Okay, I was born in this country. I'm from my next door neighbour at the back there. Well, I can be a witness. Yeah, I was born here, wasn't I? Right, okay. So yeah, I'm a white English guy. You probably noticed that already. I'm not much of a secret. I become Muslim about 28 years ago. Again, shouldn't be a big deal, but it seems to get a bit of attention. I mainly work in construction. Most of my life, up until very recently, I was working in construction on building sites as a plasterer and things like this. Okay, so I'm very acquainted with that world. I do a lot now for the last year or so. Maybe a little bit more than that, I don't know. On social media, I'm quite busy on social media, and a lot of my content is about the far right, Tommy Robinson, and this whole narrative that's being pushed around now, being funded to be pushed around. So that's a little bit about me. Now, being white and working in the building trade, my skin gets me into conversations that a lot of Muslims can't get into, okay? You wouldn't necessarily look at me if I walked on a building site and say, that guy's a Muslim. You know, there he is, we can spot him a mile away. Some of the other guys here, just that they're brown, would put that suspicion, okay? So I kind of get the insight of the real hatred that people have for Islam. So I kind of categorize it as two people that have a problem with Islam. There's two particular groups, okay? One group is arrogant and one group is ignorant. And the arrogance I can't help much. To be honest, I just clash, okay? They don't want to know the truth, facts, figures, stats, everything doesn't matter. They're happy in their ignorance. They want to stay arrogant. They think they're better. They think that because their life is so crap, and Tommy Robinson has told them it's your fault that their life is crap, that's all they need to know. Now, there's the ignorant group. And when I say ignorant, I don't want to sound that as if you're an ignorant person, because I'm ignorant about a lot of things. I'm ignorant about finance. You ask me about business and high-level finance and investments, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo, okay? So I'm ignorant in that world. And a lot of the people that I come across on building sites were clearly just ignorant. Not hateful, not evil, not bad, just peed off, fed up white people that were misinformed or misunderstood Islam, okay? And we have to keep this in mind. When you are talking to white people about Islam, okay, understand that they have an argument and they have a point, whether you agree with it or not. And if you just call them Islamophobic straight away because they don't agree with you, you've already created someone that is now Islamophobic, okay? So they have an argument. They're worse off financially. They're looking around their towns and cities, Tower Hamlets and Bury Park and other places, and it has changed unrecognisably from when they was young. You have to accept that is a viewpoint that they are going to look at it from. That's an optrex that they're going to look at it. And if this happened in any other country, you would get it, and you do get it, okay? If there was a whole load of white people that turned up in Africa and just run the place like they did, or in India, or in America, there's going to be backlash. I mean, it's not happening to that extent here, but there's always going to be a pushback when you get a lot of people that don't come from that country settling and living in that country, okay? It's just, you have to accept that's a viewpoint that they have, wrongly or rightly, okay? So I get into these conversations regularly. A lot of the time, they don't even know that I'm filming. So I'll be filming with my phone down here, so they're not censoring anything, okay? And then they come out with the usual stuff. And on this note, actually, I've never met a racist person that liked Islam. Racism and Islamophobia are together. But there are people that have a problem with Islam that are not racist. But every racist is anti-Islamic, okay? Every single racist person, if they don't like Islam and you're black or you're brown and you're not a Muslim, I can promise you the vast majority of the time they don't like you either. It's just that now they've got an excuse to hate Muslims and they don't get called racist. But if you spoke to them like I've spoke to them, they don't like black people or brown people either, okay? So racism and Islam, like the brother said, they normally go hand in hand, although not every time. You can have if you come from another religion, then obviously you can have a different point of view to Islam. It doesn't make you racist, okay? So the two categories of ignorant and arrogant, work with ignorant people. You can re-inform them, you can re-educate them, you can talk to them. Sometimes they just come up, they don't know the difference sometimes between Sikhs and Muslims. They don't know, they don't distinguish this, they don't know. And a lot of the conversations will come about, well, why do you guys do terrorism? Or why are you blowing up this? And why are you blowing up that? It's just because that's what the mainstream media have pushed out there. Like we've seen some things on the news. But more importantly, now it's on social media. And most people listen to social media more than they listen to mainstream media, because we've kind of given up on politicians. Okay, we've kind of given up on mainstream media because we know what they're about. So people like Tommy Robinson get so much airplay because social media is so big, okay? So I'm going to take from my notes now, what does it feel like to be a Muslim? okay, in this country. So I can tell you what it feels like to be a Muslim from a white perspective. I can't talk for black people. I can't talk for brown people. They're educated and smarter than I am. They can talk for themselves, okay? But I'm going to do a little thing now. When was the last time any of you were called a scumbag traitor because of your religion, your belief, or your non-belief? So put your hand up if you've been called a scumbag traitor this week. No, you've been called a scumbag traitor. Go on, you can put your hand up.
Obviously, I face it all the time.
Right, okay. Anyone else been called a scumbag traitor? Put your hands up. Anyone's had a death threat this week or this month or this year? No one's had a death threat, okay? I get death threats almost weekly, probably sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. I get called a scumbag traitor probably 10, 15 times a day on each platform, okay? Because I'm a white and I'm a Muslim. Now, every one of you here, when they see a Muslim, except for the Muslims, obviously, the non-Muslims, they will have a little thing in the back of their head, a little voice in the back of their head saying, at what point is this guy going to become an extremist? Or is he already an extremist? He's just like chatting us up, okay? So, who now thinks I'm an extremist at the moment? Put your hands up. I don't mind. Believe me, you do. I know you do, okay? So I'm going to go through a list, and we're going to get to a point where you're going to think I'm an extremist, most likely, okay? So I pray 5 times a day. Just put your hand up. Okay? You do, yeah. No, not that you pray 5 times a day, bruv. When you think I'm an extremist, you put your hands up, right? I pray 5 times a day. Anyone? I don't drink alcohol. I don't do free mixing with men and women in the same room. Anyone? Oh, you're all very shy. Now, you're supposed to put your hand up, bruv. You're a Muslim. Okay? Okay? I don't believe in democracy. Some of you must be freaking out. So you want to put your hand up? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So don't be shy. You're not going to offend me. I'm not precious. In pursuit of truth, we have to be prepared to be offended and offend people. So you're not going to like offend me just by saying or putting your hand up. Right, so there comes a point where in the back of your head, okay, I don't drink alcohol, I don't listen to music, you might think, that's a bit weird. As soon as I say something like that, well, now he might be a bit of a... So you get that as well. But no Muslim will say that any other law is going to be better than Islamic law or Islamic way of life. It just can't. Okay, which brings me to the next point, is that people want you to... They tell you to integrate into the country, but what they really mean is they want you to assimilate, okay? They want you to become like them. And even then, it's not good enough for them, because you can never be more like them than what they can, but they don't even know what they're like. White culture in this country has a few norms. The sense of humour is good and things like this, but Northerners are different to Southerners, and Wales people are different to, other people. So how can you assimilate into something that you don't even know what it is? So they don't want you to integrate, because we do integrate as Muslims. We in the National Health Service, we're overrepresented, okay? We're in politics, I believe now. We've even got, you're in politics, aren't you, bro? Yeah, okay. We're in politics, we're in offices, we're in the council, we're in building sites, we're in factories, we're working in taxis and everything. So we are in the community, but without being assimilated. They want you to take your hijab off. They want you to take your beard off. They want you to not be Muslim. And for you to not be Muslim means that that's their idea of integration. Just like the French, okay? Excuse me, I'm going to drink water. Just like the French. They don't want any type of religion. Well, maybe they don't want Islam, but it's the only religion now that you can visually see someone. So this is what it feels like to be Muslim. All Muslims know that non-Muslims think this in the back of their head when they look at them. To some level, okay? When they start talking. Initially, you might think, oh, he's such a nice guy. But as soon as he starts talking, oh, sorry, mate, I don't go there. I don't even sit on a table where there's alcohol. I don't participate in Christmas festivals at work, okay? If you want to go out for a Christmas meal, crack on, I'm going home, okay? I don't participate in these things. So we know that when we say things like this, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, yeah, he might be a terrorist. Or yeah, he might be an extremist. Because he said something now which is, it's not. We are not. Just because I believe that Islam, the life of Islam and the legal system of Islam is superior to communism, capitalism, or any other ism, doesn't make me that I want to hurt you. We're not getting it here anytime soon, so don't worry anyway. You know what I mean? It's not coming here anytime soon. Okay? So this is the problem that we have now with, if I said I was a Christian, it'll be fine. A Buddhist, I'll be fine. Atheist, I'll be fine. Scientologist, anything. Rastafarian. As soon as you say you're Muslim, all of these things come to your brain at some point. So this is the problem that we have now with being a Muslim in this country, okay? Especially if you're on social media, because they're just going to come at you. They come after you really heavily. I mean, like I said, I get death threats all the time. And this all comes down to, why do they hate? Why is there such an agenda against Islam? Well, Islam, ideally, would not have interest banking and loans. Okay, now imagine he's going to have a problem with that. It would have a problem with gambling. It would have a problem with pornography. It would have a problem with alcohol. These are multi-billion-pound industries. And these people pump a lot of money into demonizing Islam and Muslims. So we're up against the big players, okay? We're up against the big financial players, okay? And this is why I believe, apart from the divide and conquer strategy, while you've got the corporate gangsters who are rinsing the world of billions and trillions of pounds, causing wars in countries like Africa, in Sudan, and all over the place, while they're doing all of this, where they just keep us distracted by hating people for wearing a headscarf, or hating people because they want to go in that room and pray once or twice when they're at work. It's an easy argument that's been going on for many, many years. It's an old and tried tested method of distracting people. If you're hating me, you're not worrying about what they're doing, okay? And they fund people to do this. We have the likes of Tommy Robinson, and Farage is one of them, Katie and all them people. They're all part of this. They all get well funded to do this. I get a mobile phone and it costs me money to make my videos. Okay, I have to do this on my own. I got no security around me. I rely upon Allah to protect me. Okay, I don't have anyone around me. I don't have a gang of people that protect me. Okay, so I know that the brother wanted to talk more about solutions as well as we go on. So I'll take that. Okay, so one of the ways that we can deal with this as a community, okay, because a lot of people say to me, I'd love this country to be more Christian. I say, yes, so do I. I want this country to be more Christian because I don't feel threatened by a Christian. They don't normally want to mug you if they're Christians. They don't normally want to sell you a drug or rob your house. Or normally Christians have a good consciousness, they have a good moral compass, and they don't cause you any harm. So yeah, let's the country be more Christian because at least we'll be safer. Okay, but they're now hijacking Christianity. You're now getting the likes of Tommy Robinson hijacking Christianity by saying, oh, this is a crusade now for Christians against Muslims. So they're not even leaving Christianity alone. Okay, so what we need to do, in my opinion, and it's only me, okay, is we need to take the narrative away from the extremists. And I'm talking about the extremists on all sides, okay, because Muslims are not innocent and Muslims are not perfect. We have our own stupid people in our community saying stupid things, okay, to wind them up. They've got no intelligence, they've got no brains, and all they do is say, we want to take this country over, this country's going to be a Muslim country. Trust me, if you knew the Muslim community like I did, we wouldn't have taken over anything, okay? We're not taking over anything. We can't even run our own mosques. You've got no problem with us. So, secondly, it's in the constitution as such, in the country, that no one could take over the country. No communism, no dictatorship, we can't take over, yeah? Okay, so by law, we couldn't take over, okay? You couldn't have a dictator prime minister who just said we want to overthrow it, and it wouldn't happen. You have to go up against the armed forces and the king, okay? So don't get worried about that, okay? Secondly, the Muslims are incapable of even establishing Islam in most of their houses. So they're not going to do it in your country or in our country, okay? Thirdly, even if they did, even if this was a Hollywood movie, it would only apply to Muslims. It wouldn't apply to anyone else. Sharia doesn't apply to a non-Muslim. You still carry on with whatever you were doing. So these are all gaslighting arguments that we've got to take away from the extremists on both sides. So we do have Muslims that say stupid stuff and they need to be called out. We do need to take the argument away from the likes of Tommy Robinson. He's more influential than the Prime Minister of this country. More people listen to him. Who is the Prime Minister? Is it, what's his name? Not Farage, he will be. Who is Starmer? He's more influential than Starmer. And he's just a paid influencer on social media. So we've got to start having real conversations amongst real people and use language that normal people understand. Because when you talk to a politician, they just speak for 10 minutes but say nothing. And we all know what they're like. Sorry, bro, I know you're a politician, but it is what it is, you know. Okay, when you talk to a major politician, this is why people have lost confidence in politics. So you've got to start having normal conversations with normal people about these things. We can't just let these people do the talking for us. Let Tommy Robinson do the talking. Let the politicians say whatever they're not saying. And let the Muslims extremists say what they're saying. We have to, as a normal people, come together, okay? I'm not here to try and get into politics. It would be a nightmare for me. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't be allowed, would I? Probably after this speech, definitely not. Okay, I say I'm not here to make anyone happy. I'm not here to colour this any particular way. I'm not here to make friends. Okay, the truth has got to be said sometimes, and it has to be normal people. Why does Tommy Robinson appeal to so many people? Because he talks in normal English. He appeals to the normal, basic, average guy, and he then blames some of the people in this room for it. Well, if you've got such a crap life, it's not the multimillionaires, it's not the government, it's the Muslims. It's the same old thing. But people listen to him because he speaks in a way which is relatable to ordinary people. Donald Trump, the same. Donald Trump can talk the most amount of gibberish and then go, yeah, that was rubbish. So what? Let's move on. But people just say, because he speaks normally, they will listen to him. So we've got... You're panicking in it, bro. So I'm going to come off in a minute.
I'm not panicking.
All right, okay. So
in 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, alhamdulillah. So not panicking then, yeah. Okay. So in my thing, if we want to have real change, we have to have real conversations. And if I offend you, I don't mean to, but I do. And if you offend me, then I'll just take it. But if we start from a premise of believing the gaslighters and just letting them do the talking, then the talking is always going to go in an extreme, one way or the other. And right now it's going in the extreme, in the right. In this country, the next 5 or 10 years for Muslims is going to be fight or flight time. If you're going to get out, get out. Okay? If you're going to stay, don't pray for it to get any better, pray to be stronger. Because it's not going to get any easier. And every single Muslim that I talk to, almost, because like I said, they won't say certain things in front of a crowd because they don't, at work or in social range, Muslims go two ways. They either overcompensate and try and be too friendly, or they withdraw socially and become, they don't talk much, they're kind of shy, they don't want to say anything that could be construed as religious even, okay? But we're going to get a lot tougher in this country. 5 or 10 years is going to be key. In every 80 to 100 years in European history, the white European man has wiped out hundreds of millions of people of his own kind. Wars. We've always been fighting. We love it. Fight France and England and Spain and the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire. We can't get enough. So we're not... Another 8 years. It's been 8 years since the last war, isn't it? So get ready. I don't want to scare people, but that's how Muslims feel. When I'm speaking to average Muslims, they're like, yeah, it's on top. We're going to have to deal with this. And if you can get out, get out. Go. The rich ones already out. The rich guys with the businesses and the money already going to Dubai. Anyone else go. And the ones that you'll be left with the ones that can't get out, actually. So, you'll be left with them. But if that's what I say, this is the next 5 to 10 years is going to get worse for Muslims in this country. However, I want to stand up here in 5 or 10 years, if we're still alive, and say I was wrong. This is one of them where I just like, yeah, I got that one wrong. I got a little bit carried away. But that's how most ordinary Muslims feel. And they might not tell you that, so I'm up here telling you that. And once they've got rid of the Muslims, it'll be black people, because a lot of black Muslims anyway, it'll be Sikhs, it'll be Hindu, they'll just get rid of everyone. Because hate needs fire. Hate is like fire, it needs fuel. It won't just stop. It won't just stop at this point. It will carry on until there's nothing left. Okay? Do you want me to stop now?
Yeah.